Turn off your lights. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. Disappearing Man in Red by Rider Boku 3. I recently found this sub by accident, and I'm glad I did. It proves we're not crazy, nor is it legendarily rare to have any of these experiences. Me, my best friend, and my die-hard materialistic atheist family have had so many glitch in the matrixes that I would need to write more than 10 posts to describe them all. We have all failed to explain each and every one of these events, and mentioning them in a family conversation is sort of taboo. Fortunately, this is not the case with my lifelong best friend. Here's an early example that my friend and I had about 15 years ago. My birthday fire camp, we left our group of friends and went for a walk in the woods. It's a forest that we know pretty well, having played here every day since we could walk, to talk privately about some stuff that had been going on in our lives lately. After an hour, it was getting cold, so we turned around to go back to the fire camp. As we were walking and chatting casually, we saw a man in a red jacket walking slowly down the trail about 100 meters ahead of us. Nothing out of the ordinary, as this place is full of hikers. Since he walked slowly, we got closer to him with each step. When we were about 4 meters behind him, preparing to pass him on his left side, he approached a thick tree that crossed the path and disappeared from our view for a brief second. 5 steps later, so about 3 seconds, we went behind the tree and, well, there was nobody. Long 200 meters straight road ahead, and muddy hills on the sides and no sign of a living soul. This man in red disappeared, which is impossible even if he was a Hitson Bolt at his peak or Spider-Man and jumped into the bushes. We stopped and looked at each other. What the hell? Where did he go? We started looking for this guy, thinking he's playing with us by running around the tree or whatever else came to mind. But nothing made sense. No footsteps in the mood either. We were desperate to find him and couldn't do this for like 10 minutes. Finally, we started laughing hysterically, saying it was impossible. Eventually, we returned to the camp and told our friends about this event. As I know this is not an uncommon type of story, the reason why I chose is because there is no logical explanation other than a group hallucination. Me and my friend were sober. Thank you for listening and have a great Sunday. Please, my child only just turned 14. The woman pleaded desperately. Ma'am, we told you, this bunker is only for children 13 and younger, replied the officer, shutting the door as the explosions got louder. Reappearing Shoes by Ashley Marie 096. I was reading through these stories here and was reminded of this story I still have no explanation for. This happened about 5 years ago, but I'll never forget how insanely confused I was. I also want to note that I'm not a stranger to glitches happening and have witnessed car disappearing with nowhere to have gone, items disappearing and reappearing in the most obvious places, things like that. So, the story. I was on a camping trip with my family in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we took a drive to the beach. We parked in a parking lot and had to cross a busy street before coming up to the wooden bridge/path that led to the sand. As me and my family approached the end of the path, all of the beachgoers had their shoes lined up against the railing. I remember slipping out of my shoes and hoping they wouldn't be stolen or accidentally taken by someone else, as they were pretty generic, and as I stayed, everyone's were all piled together. Me and my family went on our beach day, went swimming, things like that. And I know for a fact no one from our little group left to go back to the car, and everyone stayed together the whole time. Not only that, but my siblings were too young to cross the street alone at that time, and my dad has never pulled pranks. As we were leaving and approaching the pile of shoes, lo and behold, my shoes were gone. They were a cheap pair of flip-flops, so I wasn't broken-hearted, but was quite annoyed that I had to walk across the busy street and through the parking lot barefooted. I remember stepping on rocks the whole way and mildly complaining because it was quite painful. Then, when I got back to the car, my shoes were neatly placed under my car door, as if I had opened the door, placed my feet on the ground, and just slipped out of them. If it were a prank, it couldn't have been done by my family, so the random prankster would have had to know 1, which shoes were mine, 2, which car was mine, and 3, which door I had gotten out of. And I know for a fact I didn't leave them there due to how uncomfortable the walk was barefoot, as well as having the thought that I hoped my shoes wouldn't go missing in the pile. I was happy to have them back, but totally annoyed it wasn't before the miserable walk across the rocks. Also, a side note from 242, this is my second recording because the first one oddly glitched. I thought it was fitting since these are glitch in the Matrix stories. The teacher unlocked the room-sized time capsule with a smile, promising the students a glimpse into the lives of those who lived 50 years ago. Instead, the vault released a suffocating gas, and as the students clawed at their melting faces, the teacher calmly said, "This time, we're the memories they'll find." Where is their son? By Exciting Word 8645. We are Catholic, so we usually go to church every weekend. Our church is small and we know most of the people there because we see them every Sunday. We had been going there for the past 3 years. Anyway, so there's this family there, a husband, a wife, and their kids. We always see them in the kids' room where we go with our kid every Sunday. For the longest time, I always thought this family had 2 sons. 2 little boys around 2 to 4, and the other around 6 to 9. I remember the older boy looked a lot like the younger boy, except his hair was neatly parted and obviously he looked older. I always knew they had 2 boys. Sometimes the youngest would play with our kid while the other would play in the other room with the dad. The dad hates coming to church, so usually he makes an excuse to go play in the room, but be on his phone. So he would always be there while the oldest was there, and the youngest would stay with his mom sometimes, playing with my kid. Anyways, the lady had been pregnant for a while around the same time I got pregnant. Due to complications, I ended up having to be hospitalized for months after my recovery took so long. I lost my baby at birth, and I had a really hard time mentally after that. It's been a year since, and after therapy and a lot of support, I've been able to get my strength back, emotionally and physically. Anyways, I decided to go back to church. I saw the lady with her daughter and 1 son. Where was the other one? After Mass, I went to the car and said to my husband, "Her daughter's so beautiful, but where's her other son?" My husband responded, "What other son?" "The other one, they had 2. "No, they only had 1. My husband looked at me like I was crazy. I shrugged it off that day, but the next Sunday that came, I didn't see their other son. So now, for the past few weeks, I kept thinking about the other son. I'm so confused. I swear I saw two boys. We all got COVID now and been in quarantine and haven't back to church again. But I keep thinking about the older son that doesn't exist. I keep going back to remembering where I did and go wrong, where did the confusion begin. But I swear I saw them all the time. It couldn't have been someone else's kid because I would have seen him in church again like we usually did. Also, the kid looked so much like his brother. Like, they looked alike. I saw them in the same room. I saw them with different jackets. I saw them interacting with each other. I have such a clear picture in my head of the older brother, like I saw the kid every weekend. How could I forget how he looked? I'm so confused. I feel crazy. I'm not making this up. There's nothing I would benefit out of posting this here other than people are probably going to say I have mental issues. Nothing like this has happened to me before. I'm so confused. Update. The daughter was not born yet. I know, I'm terrible at storytelling, but the daughter was born after I came back from the hospital. That's not the weird part because the lady was pregnant before I left to the hospital. No, there isn't a way that the son would have died as we would have heard of it because we would have had mass for him, and when someone's child passes away or when someone passes away in general in the church, everyone finds out about it. We get an email that goes to everyone and we'd hold mass for them. We also are told to just be cautious and careful when we speak to the family. People are having theories that maybe he was a ghost, which I don't know, and yes, I will try and ask the lady if she ever had a miscarriage or if her first pregnancy was her son, the younger boy. People are saying that I probably jumped into a different dimension and had passed away in the hospital. This is a theory that I'm not ready to get into because it's very touchy since I did almost die in the hospital, hence why I was hospitalized for so long, months, with my child. I had an emergency C-section and the whole experience is very fresh and traumatic for me right now. So I'm still going through healing. But thank you everyone for sharing and introducing me to such theories. I'm just not ready to get into that yet. The theory that maybe the boy had transitioned to a daughter would only make sense if the daughter was the same age as the boy, but the daughter is a baby. She was born during the time I was in the hospital. The boy that I saw that was there has been there since I started going to the church, and he was around 6 years old when we first started going there. I also want to point out that some people are saying to ask around or to go into the records since the Catholic Church is very good at holding records of people, especially like baptism records. I don't want to do that just because I already feel weird enough asking her specific questions. I feel that would be just very weird to just go to the office and start asking for her family's information without a valid reason. Especially for the fact that I strongly have memories of her having another son. I feel like that would be seen as stalking or just plain creepy. I don't want to be seen as a crazy lady. Someone else said that maybe they were fostering a child, which could be possible, but I really doubt it. Another thing people have mentioned was maybe it was a niece or a nephew, which was possible, but I don't have anything to confirm that. I will be asking the son the next time I go to church. As I said, right now we are quarantined. But I will update once again after I ask their son. I will ask him if he has a brother or if he had a cousin that came to church with him. I'm starting to lean a bit more towards the fact that maybe he was a ghost because of the comment I got asking if he've ever interacted with an adult And to think back, I never really saw them interact with the child directly. The father would be in the playroom hanging out with their son while the son would be playing around. I don't know why the father would be in the playroom if the son never existed. Was the father just hanging around the playroom by himself? That would be kind of weird, but even though he never directly interacted with the older son, I still find it strange that he would be in the playroom by himself. Everything is really strange for me, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it all. I did ask my son, and my son said no, he doesn't have another brother or kid that looks like him. Thank you, everyone, for trying to help me out. I appreciate it. Latest and last update. I went back to the church today after a long quarantine, so it's not an interesting update, but she does have an older son. When we asked her about her older son, I guess she didn't hear us correctly and said that she didn't have an older son. Her son sits far away on the other side of the church with another family because he wants to sit with his friends. His son is actually indeed 6 years old and will be turning 7 soon. My husband has a horrible memory, so he didn't remember the son. This is a big facepalm moment as I was spinning around in my head thinking I was going insane because I swore I saw an older brother. But she does have another son. It was just a huge misunderstanding that led to me thinking I was going insane. Thanks everyone for your comments and theories.
The man in black by the river handed it to me,
My son said, handing me the heavy briefcase full of $100 bills.
He then asked me, "Daddy, what's a soul?"
I ate a piece of bread that didn't exist by CattleCat357. Okay, so a few years ago, I woke up and went to the kitchen where my mom was. I was wide awake and I sat down at that table, my plate in front of me. On the other side of the room, my mom was at the stove cooking these tortilla bread things for me, like she'd been doing for the past few days. Almost immediately after sitting down and waiting, she walked up to me, silent, and put a single tortilla on the plate. She then walked up to the counter where she continued making more. I thanked her for it, and before I ate it, I looked at it. I paid attention to how it looked, like the parts where it was browned and had not been, and its shape. It was perfect. I ate it, leaving no trace of crumbs or anything on my plate. I then said thank you again and said it tasted perfectly. She didn't respond. I assumed because she was still busy making more tortillas for me. I kept talking to her about how perfect the tortilla was. She didn't really say anything. Finally, she said that she didn't give me a tortilla yet. I didn't believe her. I thought she was trying to trick me. But then I stood up and walked over to the counter, and she hadn't even finished making any yet. She hadn't even finished forming the dough. I was completely confused, and I still am. I had no proof that she had even given it to me, and she said she didn't respond when I first thanked her and said how good it tasted because she didn't know what I was talking about. To her, I just randomly said that, and she never had even walked over to me yet or finished making anything. I sat down confused, and then I stood back up again, and at that moment, she had actually finished making the first tortilla. It was still in the pan, and when I looked at it, it looked identical to the one I had claimed to have 8 minutes ago. I still don't know what happened that day. I couldn't help but smile as the girl continued to check me out as she walked outside with her boyfriend. I don't understand why he was so upset at hearing her ordering an angel shot off of me, but I was proud of the fact that a girl as pretty as that was interested in me. We keep smelling my cologne by Almost-Jaded. So, isn't this usually like, my wife died years ago and every Sunday I smell her perfume? Seems like that's how this usually goes. Twice now, our apartment will suddenly smell overwhelmingly like my cologne for about a half an hour to an hour, and then it just vanishes as fast as it came. Not sure if it's paranormal, glitching, or what, but it's weird AF and it's starting to get to me. Me and my girlfriend rent the entire basement of a house, 2 large bedrooms. We use one as our living room, a bedroom, and a hallway area between them. Our roommate/landlord is almost never home, and only ever comes downstairs to either go out to the garage or go into the laundry room at the bottom of the stairs. He hasn't been around any of the times that this has happened. I wear only one kind of cologne. It's been my trademark scent for over 20 years. Kenichi Zingon Rouge. Not exactly common, and a very distinct scent. After I got COVID, one of my unfortunate side effects was a minor change in my sense of taste and smell that seems to be permanent now. Very little changed overall, but specifically my favorite cologne now smells awful to me, like it's rancid. At one point, I bought a new bottle because I thought the one I had gone bad, but the new bottle smells the same. Everyone else around me says it's still the same scent, so I kept it around because the women in my life love it, but I hardly wear it anymore because, to me, it smells awful now. And now I have a near empty bottle and a brand new bottle. First time it happened, girlfriend and I were both in the bedroom, door open, we're the only ones down here. Suddenly, very strong smell. She says she didn't see me put on my cologne. I said I didn't. I get up and it's much stronger in the hallway and bathroom. The new bottle is on a dresser in the bedroom, but the old one is the bathroom. Maybe it broke. Go find it. Not broken, not wet, not leaking, doesn't even smell strong on the bottle itself. The smell is clawingly strong in the hallway. Go grab my new bottle, completely intact. Also, no indications of a leak or even use. We both commented on the weirdness, and just as fast as it came on, it was gone. No more smell. It happened again just now today. It is definitely my cologne. It smells strange and vaguely rancid to me, and woodsy and sexy to her. No question that it's my cologne. It comes on strong and all at once. It's much stronger in the hall and bathroom. It goes away just as fast, about 30 to 45 minutes or so, fading now as I write this. I can't quite get my head around being haunted by my own ghost, so I really don't know what to make of this. Edit for clarification. When I said above that I hardly wear it anymore, I mean like at all. Since it smells bad to me now post-COVID, I've worn it maybe 3 times in the last 4 months, if that. Maybe 10 times in the last year, maybe rounding way up there. It isn't a lingering scent, it's what I'm trying to get to here. And update, I moved out of that house 2 years ago and have not smelled it since. No one is going to kidnap you to a different reality, the man assured his daughter, who had woken up in the middle of the night from a nightmare. They looked in each other's face and they both muttered, Your eye color has changed. And with that, our time together is coming to an end. First of all, if you have a story you'd like me to narrate, you can send it to me in 3 different ways: my subreddit, email, and website. All the links are down below for easy access. Second of all, I'd like to thank everyone who let me read their stories this evening. I really enjoy reading Glitch in the Matrix stories. Sometimes they're bizarre stories that we just can't figure out what's going on. And sometimes it's just bad memory or things not being viewed in the proper way so you can see what's actually happening. I think it's important to tell both kinds of stories, to remind us that sometimes things are weird and bizarre, and sometimes we just don't have all the information. I also wanted to say about the writer Almost-Jaded. I have narrated a few of his other Glitch in the Matrix stories. I find it kind of sad that his cologne that he really enjoyed, he finds rancid now. It's really sad when it's something you really liked, and COVID is known to change your taste and smell. I'm not 100% sure why, but it can do that. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for letting me narrate. I hope you all stay in your dimensions, stay safe, and if you have any more glitches in your life, that they are minor ones, like a guy randomly disappearing on a walk. I wanted to also say that if any of the narrations I had, my voice was a little off, I'm still kind of dealing with some repercussions from whatever I had in January. It's still affecting my vocal cords, and I find that my voice will cut off randomly on me. It's very annoying, and I absolutely hate it, but there's not much I can do. I've done everything I can think of, and I still have a cough. So I think my body is still trying to get everything out. So, sorry if anything was kinda off. Now, if you enjoyed these stories, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And of course, I would absolutely love a comment. Tell me what you think, what kind of stories you like in the future, anything you'd like me to change. I love some feedback, and I absolutely love the comments. Dear, if you're listening on the podcast, please leave a review if you can, and a comment. Of course, just the same thing, I love reading them. If you'd like to help this channel/podcast grow, please share it with anyone who might enjoy it. It really helps my voice and these stories get out to new people who wouldn't get them otherwise. If you'd like to help this channel in a more financial way, I do have Patreon and memberships, where for $1 a month you get early access and a few other bonuses. But if you'd like to do more of a one-time thing, I do have Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, and PayPal. As always, guys, none of that will ever be expected, just always appreciated. I really enjoy narrating these stories and bringing life to them. And I love hearing when the people who write them message me back and tell me what they thought of my narration. I just enjoy stories and sharing them. So I hope you enjoy me telling them. Sleep tight and don't let 42 bite.